just echo Nate's comments. Well, thanks first of all, Nate and our friends at Alumni Relations for assisting us in putting this all together. It's tough. Like, this would be super fun to be gathered together and raising a glass of our favorite cocktail or drink or whatever it might be, and celebrating a fantastic teammate. But you know, the cup half full of me is saying we've got visitors from around the world and across Canada that are able to kind of come together tonight, and I think that's really important for the Petter family to see how special Leslie was to so many people. And I think that's the connections that Zoom can bring. Although we're not together, we're able to connect with so many more people in this type of an environment. I see a lot of familiar faces. Folks that I've maybe competed against over the years, a couple coaches that I've coached against. And I just want to stop and acknowledge what a tremendous celebration of Mustang women's basketball this is. And I think it's important to recognize and celebrate the history and the legacy of this program, and just looking across the generations. I'm not going to give away my age by any means, but there's some young and some olds that I recognize, and you're all so equally valued and important to the program, and obviously all felt touched and connected by Leslie, and that's why we're all here to connect and gather with each other. As you can probably tell, I played the game. I was a player at a different institution, and I was a coach as well. And you know, I shared grief just like all of you have and are. I've lost teammates over the years. I've lost my coach. I've lost student athletes and athletes that I've coached. But what I've come to learn from those losses is the strength and connections that you can gain through the shared grief, as well as the community that can kind of gather and continue to share in the legacy. In this case, we're gathered to share and to celebrate the legacy that Leslie has left with the program. Obviously, touched so many people, and tonight I'm really proud and pleased to be able to spend some time and to listen to stories. I didn't know Leslie, but I feel like I've come to know her through the Petter family. Ted, you and I have been on the phone. You've left me voicemails. What's so funny about Ted's voicemail is that it ends and then he picks up and he calls me back because he's got to finish the story that he's telling me on my voicemail. So I appreciate the connections that I feel, and I'm very honored to be here tonight. So with that, I want to thank everyone again for taking the time and taking the moments. It's tough. This COVID has been tough, and the times that we get together to appreciate each other. So with that, Nate, am I passing it back to you, or am I passing it over to Ted?
No, I can go. Just to let everyone know, we're recording it, and it's not necessarily to make sure that I'm saying all the right things. It's to make sure that some of our players who are back home working and couldn't be on this call have the opportunity to share in this as well. So just in case you see that I'm recording, it's only because we want to make sure that we're sharing this with our players and continuing Leslie's story with our current team. So I think next off to Ted, and really appreciate you sharing your story and sharing more of Leslie's story.
Well, I know many of you have heard some of what I'm going to say, and some have heard bits and pieces, but I'll try to get through this kind of quickly. But before I begin, I want to thank Coach Nate McKibben for bringing us all together today to remember Leslie. This is, to the day, the 10th year of her passing, May the 11th, 2011. And as you know, Leslie attended Western from 1982 to 1986 and played Mustang basketball for 4 years, and loved the game and was very proud to wear the purple and white. She was always a team player, and while winning games was important to her, friendships and university life experiences were of the utmost importance. She always had a positive attitude towards life and looked forward to a teaching career. And after graduation, her dream became a reality when she was hired on at Medway High School in Arva, just north of London. Then in June of 1988, barely into her teaching career, at age 24, and 4 days before her wedding, the doctors at St. Joseph's Hospital informed her that she had acute myeloblastic leukemia, or AML, a cancer of the blood which is often fatal. We all thought her fatigue and sudden weight loss was due to end of school and pre-wedding jitters. This news was absolutely devastating because, after all, the chance of contacting AML is 1 in 15,000. So without hesitation and no wasting of time, Leslie met this life and death challenge straight on. Intensive treatment began immediately and would go on for many months. Sadly, it became evident that Leslie would need a bone marrow transplant. And after several weeks of searching for an appropriate match, the joyful news came. Her sister Marnie was a perfect match. The transplant was performed at Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto, March the 13th, 1989. And Leslie lived on to teach and coach for 22 more years. Marnie had literally saved her sister's life. Leslie's fighting spirit and positive attitude, along with lots of enthusiasm and energy, gave her a second chance to life. Besides her career at Medway, with teaching and coaching, Leslie and her soulmate and husband, John, enjoyed many years of fun with family, friends, and their love of travel. Leslie continued to raise awareness and money for cancer research and tissue and organ transplant. She participated in multiple sport events with the World Transplant Games, first in London, Ontario, and then in Thailand, and then Australia. Leslie also ran a half marathon in Virginia and a run for cure in London. Unfortunately, in 2010, Leslie was diagnosed with breast cancer, and this time it could not be contained. Leslie and John and several others had been gearing up in the spring of 2011 for the first annual transplant trot in London on April the 30th. There she was with her oxygen tank on her back and doing what she loved to do, and that was helping others. And just 11 days later, on May the 11th, her courageous battle against cancer came to an end. They say that one's true personality comes out in the face of adversity, and this was so true for Leslie. Her motto, Carpe Diem, seize the moment, live for the day, was ever present. And I think all of us gathered here today have all been inspired in some way by Leslie's life and her legacy that lives on. So on behalf of the McKilson and Petter families, a most sincere thank you for this wonderful tribute to Leslie, and may her story continue to inspire all of us to be extraordinary. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing. And obviously, you and I have talked many times in the past, and obviously you've shared that story, and it continues to have an impact, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. We've got a whole collection of people to speak, and I apologize that it's taken me some time to sort of find my feet. On behalf of our team, one of our current athletes has agreed to sort of hop on and say thank you. Ariane, I think I saw you come in. I'm not sure I necessarily see you on my screen, but that's just a testament to how many great people are here right now. Are you there, Ariane?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I will hand the mic over to you.
All right, perfect. Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to speak to this group tonight as the most recent recipient of the Leslie Petter Women's Basketball Memorial Award. Leslie will be 57 years old today. I never got to meet her, but wish that I had. Nevertheless, her presence lives on in her parents, Barbara and Ted, who faithfully attend every home game that they can. We've all met Ted, who feels like everyone's guardian angel with his energy, his smile, and his words of encouragement. He is always inspiring and motivating us when we need it the most, whether being in warm-ups, at halftime, or even post-game. If Leslie was as gregarious as her father, we would have loved having her as a teammate and as a friend. I know she was with us in spirit, watching over us, and that today we can all learn from the example that she set, as well as the values she demonstrated. I want to thank the Petter family on behalf of the Western women's basketball team for playing such an important role in our program and honoring their daughter's legacy through this important financial award. Our team strives to keep Leslie's memory alive for generations to come. As I'm entering year 3 at Western this fall, I'm looking forward to a COVID-free basketball season with my Mustang family, and I'm hoping to catch you both, Barbara and Ted, with pom-pom in hand, courtside soon. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for that, Ariane. Well said. As always, our players are carrying me anytime my performance tends to lack. So it's nice to see that even in COVID, you guys are doing a much better job than I ever could. So thank you so much for that. Just watching the chat a little bit, I know Paul has got to get back to Raptors broadcast, and I can't thank you enough for jumping on this Zoom, despite having some professional commitments as well. It speaks to, your time with the program and obviously your connection to Leslie too. So I really do appreciate that. And I'm going to hand it over actually to a friend of mine in coaching well before I ever got to Western. Bill Pangos, his daughter actually played for me for provincial team when she was in high school. And we got a chance to travel one summer and ended up in a really sketchy hotel in Washington, D.C., where we had to move them very quickly. And he greatly helped us making sure that our team was safe. So when I got to Western, I feel very fortunate that my name is on a list of coaches with his name. So I'm going to hand it over to him for some words. I think you're on mute, Bill. I apologize. Bottom left-hand corner. There you go.
First of all, I want to thank Nate for inviting me to this. This is a thrill of a lifetime. Nate and I had a great time in Washington actually during that tournament. So I appreciate Nate inviting me to that trip. I was very fortunate enough to coach at Western for 2 years during my grad years, 1984, 85, 85, 86. So that's 35 years ago. And first year I was with the men's program. The second year I was with the women's program. And it was my first women's basketball team, having coached with the Humber College men's program for a couple of years. And I want to thank Darwin for the opportunity to be able to be involved with both those programs. I actually cherish that first women's basketball team. And believe it or not, the picture of that team is still down the hallway, or was until I painted the wall a few months ago. And I recognize some of the faces here. I can't believe that I coached Dana, Maria, and Nancy. Is there anybody else here? That's 35 years ago. And
Karen Mitchell's on.
Where's Karen? Okay, well, I tell you, one of the things that I remember about that team with Leslie is how welcoming they were for me as a grad student to take over the realms of that team. And when I look back to the years, that one particular year, one of the things that stands out for me with Leslie is how coachable, how easygoing. She always had a smile on her face. She was always respectful. But when you got between the lines, guess what happened? A switch went on. And she was relentless. She had a strong will to compete. And as a coach, those are the kind of attributes you want. You want somebody who's lovable, easygoing, smiling, but she wants to compete between the lines. And I think Nate would take that particular type of student athlete anytime. And that particular year that I coached, those are the type of players that we had. And Leslie had a profound influence on that particular team. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah.
I lost you. There I am.
You're good.
Gotcha. Okay. She had a profound influence on her teammates as a tremendous inspiration, but also a tremendous role model. Now, going back to that strong will to compete, obviously that's a Petter trait, because Jeff, Marnie, and the Petter family are all competitors. And I think some of those attributes showed when she was trying to fight in her battle through cancer. And I think those are admirable qualities that really transfer to all the people that she inspired. So I want to thank everybody here for allowing me the opportunity to talk about Leslie. She sure made my one and only year coaching the women's basketball team at Western very, very memorable. And as I said, I still have that team picture. So I want to thank all the players. I want to thank the Petter family for allowing me the opportunity to coach her that year. Ted, you did a great job staying out of my way, which was fantastic. The basketball coach, that's hard to do, right, Ted? And I want to thank Christine. By the way, it's a side story. I tried to recruit Christine to Western as a coach. Unfortunately, she decided to go to Laurentian. I know she's living that decision down, right, Christine? Anyway, thanks, Dave, for the opportunity. And as I said, I'm thrilled and honored to be here this evening.
Thank you so much for that. It really quite enjoyed that story, and I'm sure there's lots more stories coming up. We're going to go back to a member of our team, one of our graduating players this year. Shakina's actually done a great job of hopping on this call, as she's actually leaving for 2 months on Friday. So we're not only going to miss her in practices next year, we're going to miss her completely from the country for 2 months. So we'd appreciate her jumping on in between errands, getting ready for her big trip. Shaq, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Beautiful. It's up to you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm really honored to speak today. And I've also had the honor to take part in 3 Leslie Petter Memorial Games at Medway High School, which is a school where Leslie taught and impacted so many, and which she touched on many people. It was a special opportunity to learn Leslie's story and interact with her friends and family that attended the game. It's also always great to see Ted at every game. And as I move from Western and into my professional career, I hope that no matter what stage of life we might all be in, we can all follow the example that Leslie provided for all of us. Her commitment to others, her work ethic, but also her desire to find balance and experience like that in terms of what life has to offer. I hope we can all remember her story and know that we are all connected through our shared history as Mustang athletes. It's also wonderful that we can continue the great legacy that Leslie left. Leslie's spirit still lives strong in all of us, from the great Medway teams that she coached to her Western team, where she also gave her best. Leslie played the game with the same passion and joy, and we thank you, Leslie, for all that you gave. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Shaq. Really appreciate that. So we're going to go back to another coach, Mary Riesbo, one of the first people I met when I came to Western. And every time I look at the history of coaches that have been involved in our program, we're all chasing you. So I still have a long way to go, but hopefully I'll get somewhere close and I'll have a great career if I'm anywhere close. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks, Nate, for asking me to say a few words about my memories of Leslie and her impact on the Western basketball program. I had the pleasure of coaching Leslie for 3 of her 4 seasons as a Mustang. The first time I met her was during tryouts in the 82-83 season. And that's almost 40 years ago. It's just, I still can't believe that it was that long ago. She was part of a very strong rookie class that included people on this call: Karen Mitchell, Tracy DeSutter, Nancy Unruh, and Teresa Klitza as well. It tells you a lot about recruiting in those early 80s that most of our players were walk-ons. And that is not the case today. It's, recruiting is way more advanced. And some of our legendary walk-ons are also on this call. Nancy Lemon O'Shea and Sandy Perryman, they were vets on that team when that rookie class came in. And Leslie impressed right away with her strong fundamentals and just her sheer effort, her desire. She made her mark as an ultimate team player and a strong defender. As a point guard, she always took care of the ball and made everyone around her a better player. She was always positive and upbeat. I remember Leslie and Karen Mitchell, they became fast, great friends, and they both played the game with such enthusiasm. And I'll never forget their smiling faces when they arrived in Alumni Hall Gym. Those two always seemed to be up to something. And it was very clear that they both loved to play the game of basketball. And it was such an honor to have had the opportunity to coach them. And now I know that Karen's going to be coming up next, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say about her memories.
Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. It's quite something to have multiple coaches here on this call that all had an experience to work with Leslie. And now we're going to head over to a player's perspective. It's my understanding that Karen, you were really good friends with Leslie right from the start. So we would love to hear, some stories from you or some from you.
Great. Thank you very much. And what a pleasure this is to see everybody. I'm really, really overwhelmed. And hello to Ted and Barb and Jeff and Marnie and John. This is a really special time for all of us to remember Leslie. On that first day when I arrived at Western, I was at Huron College, and so was Leslie. She was in room 116 and I was in room 216 above her. And I met her the very first day, and she told me that she was in PE, and so was I. And she wanted to try out for the basketball team, and so did I. And so we went together to Alumni Hall, scared as scared could be. And both of us just looked at each other and said, well, let's make this happen. And both our dads went to Western, both our dads were athletes at Western, both our dads were teachers. The bond that we had from the get-go was incredible. And I remember when we walked over to Thames Hall to look at the list of who made the team, and we walked together and we had our names on that list, and both of us were like, cool, this is going to be great. And the story goes, Leslie was tough as nails. She worked hard. In her magical way, she made us all better. She was quiet, but she loved to laugh and she loved to have fun. And I think she liked to laugh at me mostly because I was the one that was doing all the silly things. We went to Florida for a training camp, and we may or may not have met some of the men from the MAC swim team. And we may or may not have snuck out after curfew to meet them on the beach. but sorry, Mary, you didn't know about that.
No, I didn't.
None of us do.
I remember well our road trips to Montreal, to Calgary, to Edmonton, to Banff Springs. We didn't have swimsuits, so I suggested that we rent the suits. So the whole team rented suits. And we went in the hot springs with rented suits, and Leslie thought it was hilarious. It was Leslie and Nancy Unruh were our point guards, and Nancy Lemon was our 5 player, and Tracy was our 4. And I was the 3 that filled the lane quickly all the time, and Leslie would get the ball to me for a quick, odd layup. We'd always look at each other and had just so much fun. And I just remember always being in contact with her to see, where is she? And she would know where I was. And it was just so much fun to play with her. We were well connected with the men's team as well. I think in 1982, there was, as Mary said, there was a large recruiting cast for the women, but also on the men's side, there was about 6 men on that rookie team. So we quickly became friends with them, and we became family and had a ton of fun. We had bake-offs on the bus. Every trip we'd have a bake-off. The men would bake for us. We would bake for the men. We won every time, hands down. We had charades. Don't ask Jeff. Jeff, you might not. We played charades on the bus. We won every time. After university, we both became PE teachers and coaches, and Tracy and I and Leslie were thick as thieves. We were bridesmaids at her wedding, and our first few years, both Leslie and I were teachers in London. I came back to London to be closer to her, and she taught at Medway High School. and I taught at J.P. Robarts Public School. And we were there for her when she was diagnosed with leukemia 4 days before the wedding. We decorated the room at the hospital for her night at the hospital for the wedding night. And then it was the next day she started chemo. Then she went through her bone marrow transplant. She wavered at times, but she never, ever gave up. We always found ways to laugh and fight through things. And she was always had a smile on her face. As bad as it got, she was there, and we always tried to have fun. 11 years ago today changed my perspective on life. Absolutely. I miss her dearly, but I don't take things for granted anymore. I take advantage of every opportunity that comes my way. I don't turn down opportunity, and I live every day as if it's my last because of Leslie. In my adult life, I have become an avid recreational runner, and I heavy on the recreational. At the start of every race, whether it's a marathon, a half marathon, 10K, 5K, I have a routine, and I look up to a building or a tree, and I look up and I imagine Leslie sitting there on top of one of those buildings, and her saying to me, "Do this because you can. I'll cheer you on the whole way." And it makes me feel calm, because I know that if she was here, she'd be running those marathons and those half marathons with me. Just to wrap up, Leslie's calm, determined, and kind nature lives with me. And I am oh so grateful to have had her as such a great teammate and an amazing friend for life. I miss you, Leslie. And I miss all my teammates. And we really, really valued our time together. And it's just so nice now. I live in BC now, and I don't get to see everybody. And I know that everybody is on this call, and it's just heartwarming for me to share those stories. And I want to say thank you to Nate for giving me the opportunity. And hopefully one day we'll all get together at Alumni Hall, and I'll be able to come and visit. So thank you very much. And bless.
Thank you so much. I can promise you we'll have an opportunity to reconnect at Alumni Hall. It's one of the consistent things. I know when my mother first came to our first game, and her and my father wanted to sort of share in the experience, I gave her directions to Alumni Hall, forgetting that she was a graduate of Western in 1971. So she was one of the first classes to walk across. So Alumni Hall is the consistent for all of us. So we will definitely have that opportunity to get together and share some of these stories in person. So thank you so much for sharing. The last person that we have to speak is actually the first person who received the Leslie Petter Memorial Award. And it's fitting that it's someone who's dedicated her life to coaching and teaching. So I think it's only fitting that we hand it over to Jenny Vaughn Polizzi. I know I always forget the Polizzi part to say the last couple words.
First of all, I want to be on a road trip with Karen. Sounds like a blast. And no problem, Nate. I just add the Polizzi because I didn't take my husband's last name and I feel bad about it. So I forget it too. I am incredibly humbled to be on this call. There are just, there's amazing people here. This is, actually quite emotional. Ted making me cry on Thursday night, start us off. As you know, unfortunately, I did not have the privilege of meeting Leslie in person, but I am very honored to have been the first recipient of her memorial scholarship, and to be connected to her and to all of you, even in a very small way. I love how she's still able to bring us all together here and be connected about basketball and Western and many of the things that she was passionate about. So I'm happy to recall a little bit about my experience and how Leslie was still able to have an impact on my life. I remember receiving the award. I think we were in Thames for whatever reason, got shafted to Thames that day, maybe. And I was very touched and honored to have been chosen. And I was able to meet some of Leslie's friends and family lately. And I am very recently postpartum, so I could just be very hormonal and emotional on top of it. Ladies, if you've been there. but I was really emotional reflecting on that time and sort of rereading some of the articles about her and things that have come up recently as well, including today. I think because some of my life has sort of paralleled Leslie's in positive and negative ways. So that really hits home. There's one quote in particular that has kind of stood out to me all day. I believe it was Mandy Payne that said it, correct me if I'm wrong. But it was that when you were around Leslie, you constantly strive to be remotely as good as a person as she was. And I was like, whoa, like what an incredible way to be remembered, that you always brought out the best in people. And then there was a part of me that was like, oh man, Jenny, like what have you been doing with your life? Are you doing enough? You got some big shoes to fill and to step up here a little bit. So I feel humbled to even be somewhat in the same playing field as her in receiving the scholarship in her memory. As you've all sort of mentioned already and have amazing stories, and I'm sure there's thousands more. She had a huge impact on her community and especially her students and her colleagues. And it's funny how in life, as you get older, you sort of start to seek out those mentors and those role models and people that you're like, that's what I want to be like, or that's the life that I want to have. And then sometimes that just kind of falls into your lap. And I remember when I was learning about Leslie and her life when the scholarship first started. And at the time I had thought about applying to education to be a phys ed teacher and a coach. And I immediately felt drawn to this person. And I felt like I have a small responsibility to continue the impact that this woman and so many others have started, and how much I would have liked to have met her. Because talk about leaving behind a legacy and inspiring the next generation, being myself and my teammates and continuing down the road, which thanks to all of you, I'm not feeling quite as old as I was until I joined this call. I'm feeling better about my tryout wasn't 40 years ago, so I'm feeling a little bit better.
You're welcome.
But, you know, learning about Leslie, learning about how she would go to her students' games when they got to post-secondary for, you know, football, basketball, whatever it was, that she saw the students like her own kids, quoting people saying that she probably had more kids than you can ever imagine, even if they weren't biologically hers, and treating everyone like family. That all really hits home. And it definitely reminds me of the responsibility and opportunities that I have as a secondary phys ed teacher and a coach to ensure that my students feel that way, and to not waste any time or take it for granted. Because here's a woman who had this ongoing battle from cancer that I continuously learn more about. And yet here she was still continuing to impact people's lives. And everyone remembers her for her positivity and enthusiasm and her zest for life. And I was just kind of like, you know, what's my excuse not to live up to standards like that? And how amazing for Leslie to continue to inspire others and sort of transcend through time that way. And I want to thank all of you for creating that and creating the scholarship to provide opportunities for young female athletes such as myself. I hope that we can continue to make all of you proud, to make Leslie proud, and to continue her legacy. So thanks for sort of sharing my small experience and my connection. And it means a lot to me to be a part of this.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing.
Well said.
And we have many of the former scholarship recipients on this call. So I thought probably the best way for us to finish this off is with their voices. And I know the video was posted. If you haven't got a chance, it's on YouTube. It will forevermore be there and we can always share it. But I thought I would share the video, and then obviously we can talk and connect just as we did it to start this call. So 1 second as I share my screen.
That's the picture in the hallway.
Great, Tracy, the sun was on. Did you see
No,
earlier? Yeah.
no, I didn't see.
Yeah. Need sun.
Thumbs up maybe that you guys can hear it. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
There's no volume.
No.
All
No
right,
volume.
we'll try this again.
Yeah, well, why is there no sound?
My name is Jenny Vaughn Polizzi. Maddie Horst. Laura Graham. Emma Johnson. Rachel Frachley. My programs were kinesiology and education. I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology.
My program was honors specialization in psychology at Brush University College.
My program is a Master's of Physical Therapy.
My program was an honors specialization in economics and a minor in math.
My program is an honors business admin from the Ivy School of Business.
My program is education.
My program is Bachelor of Arts in kinesiology.
Because of you, I see someone that I can relate to, the type of woman that I aspire to be. Through you, Leslie, I can recognize the lasting impact that I can have as a teacher and a coach, both on my students and on my community. Because of you, I was able to reach my full potential as a basketball player, but more importantly, as a person.
Because of you, I was able to meet my basketball and academic dreams while making lifelong friendships in the process.
Because of you, I had the opportunity to strive to be a champion on the court, in a classroom, and in the community.
Because of you, I was able to fulfill my academic and basketball dreams alongside the greatest teammates I ever could have imagined.
Because of you, I was able to pursue a degree that I truly care about and continue to play a sport that I love.
I was able to fulfill a childhood dream of playing basketball at Western.
Because of you, I get to play the sport that I love at the next level, all while pursuing a top-tier education.
Thank you to donors that continue to support the scholarship
And help preserve Leslie's legacy, which inspired my career as a Mustang.
Thank you to the Petter family for staying connected with our program and for continuing to share Leslie's story.
to the future recipients of the Leslie Petter Memorial Scholarship. Thank you for continuing to celebrate Leslie's legacy and for truly representing what it means to be a Mustang.
Thank you, Leslie, for providing inspiration to each and every one of us by demonstrating your strength, your dedication, and your perseverance.
Thank you to Leslie for being an inspiration to all of us and for being an example for us to follow. Thank you to Leslie for being a role model for all of us, always.
And as a basketball program, you have a commitment from us to continue on with the Leslie Petter Memorial Game and obviously the Leslie Petter Memorial Award. There's been 9 outstanding young women that have benefited from the financial support. And this year has been especially important as our athletes were very much socially isolated to ensure that their teammates were staying healthy and their coaches were staying healthy. So you have a commitment from us that the scholarship is in good hands, that we will continue to celebrate Leslie's life. But I just can't thank you guys enough for all your support today and every other day in making sure that Leslie's memory continues. So that's sort of the end of our formal presentation, but I am more than willing to keep this open as long as you guys like to talk, to connect, and just know thank you from our program.
Thank you. Well
Nate,
done.
Nate, could I say something quickly, Nate, before
please, by all means.
Just a quick clarification and a message to the current members of the women's team. First of all, a bake off on the bus with the men's team. You might have a different interpretation of what that actually is, but that actually making muffins and stuff like that. So, Karen, nicely done. The second message I would give is what Leslie really brought to the team wasn't what happened between the lines on the court. It was the friendships off the court. To hear Karen talk about the friendships was especially really rewarding for me today. And my message to you would be to engage your teammates, your classmates, foster those relationships, because 40 years from now, they'll be just as special as Karen's was to my sister. So that's my thoughts and best wishes for the young players today.
Can I share a picture?
Please.
I was
No,
actually
Sandy, not if it's the blue bathing suits in Banff. You're not allowed to share that one.
No, that's under lock and key, Dana. No, I was just cleaning out shelving area in my home the other day, and I came across a bunch of photo albums. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this was a vet night, 1983. Can you see this?
Oh my God.
There's Les and Tracy and Nancy and myself and Michelle and Karen. This is the mature group of vets that we were. It appears to be that we're wearing jock straps with balloons in there. I'm not sure what the theme was. There probably was none, but there were drinks in hand, as you can see. But
That
anyway,
was
yeah,
Nancy's idea. That was
well,
Nancy's.
of course it was. Although I'm not sure what you were, Karen. I think you were supposed to be
I was a brown cow. I was a brown
cow.
cow.
Oh yeah, we were all drinks, weren't we? That's right. I was a beer because I've got a Canadian T-shirt on, and the foam. It's got a plastic white bag around my neck. That's the foam or the head of the beer. Anyway, as you
If we're
said,
talking,
Karen,
if we're talking pictures, I have one as well.
oh, do tell or do show. One of the many great times. I don't see it.
That's hard to see.
Where are we?
Oh, some shower
there you
caps.
go.
Isn't that attractive?
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Bathing beauties. Wow.
Good. I'm sure there's many more out there too.
What, beauties or pictures?
Pictures, both.
Karen, I want to know how many times Leslie found your wallet for you. Or your purse. Do you remember that? You were always losing your wallet and your purse, and Leslie would find it somewhere.
Every time.
Every time.
Do you guys remember this photo?
Oh, yes. That was a
I
best.
was just gonna ask you about that one.
Oh yeah.
From the
It's in the
shower
women's
room.
change room in the shower.
So the story behind that was that the men's had a Labatt sponsored a photo of the men, and they put it all over Thames Hall. And we said, well, what about our photo? How come we don't have one? And so we called the photographer from the Gazette, and we asked him to come over to Thames Hall after practice, and we staged that picture in the shower room. And then we made a whole bunch of copies and put them around by the men's poster. Not to be outdone.
Our attempt at sexiness seemed to be sorely lacking.
Oh dear.
Julia, aren't you sorry you're not coming back
I definitely, yeah.
to try out all these things?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of new ideas for the younger players.
Yeah.
I think Jeff knows one about a bathing suit too. Don't you? No? Okay. No. Okay.
Lips are sealed.
Nancy Unruh, I have to say how nice it is to see you. It's been such a long time. So lovely to
Very
see you
long
on
time,
here.
Karen. I
Yeah.
know, so long. I would hear stories every little once in a while from Tracy's mother,
Oh,
because I know family connections with them. So I would
Yeah.
get a little bit of an update now and then, but it's lovely to see everybody
oh, so good.
so far away. So good.
Yeah. Is Tracy on the call? Does anybody know?
I don't see her now.
No. Okay.
Tracy Pratt was, but not Tracy DeSutter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or at least I didn't see Tracy DeSutter.
Okay. Nice to see you too, Maria.
Karen.
And Nancy, where are you now? Nancy Unruh
I'm in Hamilton.
in Hamilton. It's, I have not seen you since the last time I coached.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a long time
Same.
ago.
You
You
yeah.
look the
I
same.
get to the Mac gym every once in a while. I get to the gym at McMaster a fair bit for games.
All I remember is Caribbean Queen. That's our warm-up song with Nancy leading no charge.
Yeah, I kind of like that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Gloria.
Yeah.
I remember I remember counting my points in warm up.
The 80s could be a little rough sometimes.
Good times.
I think I've got, am I on? Yeah. I've got a little story about Leslie. Am I on? Yeah. I remember when Leslie first came to Medway, we were both young teachers and I was single at the time. And she said, I've got somebody that I would really like you to meet. I think you could really hit it off with her. She's so outgoing. And that person's name was Karen Mitchell. So then eventually Leslie became available and I never heard Karen Mitchell's name again for a while. The rest is history. So what could have been? What could have been, Karen?
What could have been? Oh, dear John.
Dear John.
Ah, that's funny.
What actually happened was that Karen became Leslie and John's wedding planner.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, isn't that a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Nancy Lemon, I haven't seen you for a long time either.
It has been a while. Absolutely.
And Sandy, it's so good to see everybody.
Yeah, you too. Crazy.
It is so good.
Hey, you guys, we're playing World Masters, by the way. So all you people that are 55 and up, like we're 60 now, but well, 62 I am. But yeah, so we were supposed to be in Japan actually, probably pretty much now, ain't it?
Yeah.
But COVID times, but we've been to, well, Edmonton. Karen, you played with us in Edmonton, and where else? Australia and Italy and New Zealand. And so the next one is Japan, hopefully in 2022. But we could always use some younger 55-year-old legs or something, you know? Just saying.
Or just some legs.
Just some legs. We're small but mighty, I tell you. There's only about 7 of us, you know, so we're getting a little long in the tooth.
Marnie, you better step in there and play some basketball.
Yeah.
But are you
won't have
still
tryouts?
Are you still playing euchre, Sandy?
Yes, off and on with Linda and the crew, and we were doing some under that trickster card game thing. You know, you can do it online. So done that a few times. Yeah, do what you got to do.
I think I'd cough up a lung if I ran down the basketball court right now.
Start training now, Dana. You'll be good.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be easy, Dana. We'll get you in shape. It's no problem. When you play New Zealand, it's quite easy because they're quite large. So we call them Large Marge.
Large Marge. Yeah, large. But they could still play. What's with that?
They could play. Yeah, they could play.
We all get smarter as we get older. That's why.
That's what we tell ourselves.
Well, Laura and Brett and some of you players that are still playing, you're going to have to come up pretty big this year and next with some stories and some real antics. So I'm looking forward to hearing that.
I can't believe a story about the seeps hasn't surfaced. Clearly, we spent a lot of time at the seeps. I'm not sure. Laura, do you guys even go to the seeps anymore? Does it still exist?
We still go to the seeps. That will always be a thing that the women's team does.
If the big round tables are there, look underneath. I think a lot of the women carve their initials underneath those tables.
Maybe nobody can remember those stories from the seeps.
Yeah, that's good.
Some we don't want to remember.
The rookie night we used to have, Nancy Lemon, I don't know what you did to us. A rookie night, but I can't drink tequila anymore.
Same. Yeah, never
Neither,
again.
Karen?
Nope, me neither.
Well, they call it to kill ya.
Yeah.
And there may or may not have involved some bananas and some condoms as well at those years.
I believe so. And whipped cream.
I remember that.
Sounds like Sandy was the ringleader, not Nancy.
I remember that.
Okay. Now I know.
I think
'Cause I don't
Leslie
remember who was the
the
ringleader
rudder.
at the time.
I think Leslie must have been the rudder to keep all of you guys intact by the sounds of things. I know she was a little out there. She had her edgy ways about her, but all these stories are funny because she's right in there with you, but she was never the big partier, but she was the life of the party. That's for sure.
If she
And,
was the rudder, she was the rudder on the Titanic.
Oh, yeah.
Because those girls got up to so much shit. It was so much fun watching those guys.
I wonder if the team now, are they going to get up to the same antics? It's a bit hard now with COVID.
I might have to leave the call if they start talking about plans for next year.
It's still Western.
We went to Montreal. We went to Montreal one time for a tournament, and Peter Campbell forgot his tie. So we had it in our mission to go out to the bars, and whoever got a tie off somebody was going to win a prize. So we spent the night talking to every man in the bar trying to get their tie, and nobody got one.
Yet again, the sexiness factor was not there for us.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
I don't know if the current Mustangs, if you get a chance to travel, we all had the same purple bags and we'd put a buck in, and when they came off the airplane luggage thing, whoever's bag came off first won the prize, and it was like $15, but boy, was that exciting. It was a couple of lunches at McDonald's back in those days.
And Bill Pangos, do you want to tell us about the time that you challenged us to a suicide?
No, you go ahead, Karen. All I know is my first year coaching women's basketball, I thought I'd be smart and I would hire Nancy Lemon to bridge the gap between me and you, because now I'm hearing she's the instigator of all the stories.
Of course.
And I had
Suicide story.
Okay, let's see. I don't remember that, Karen.
Well, you challenged us to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I just remember being challenged to something, and you said, if you guys beat me, I will run a suicide. I'll race you in a suicide. So we were like, okay, let's do it. So you lost and you had to run, and you were trying as hard as you possibly could, and you came and finished and you threw up.
I do that now walking around the block. Dana, is that a true story?
I do not remember you puking, Bill.
Well, I didn't make that part up. I made that up.
Karen, I remember the incident about kicking the basketball.
What was that?
Well, I think it was you. You were so upset in the practice, you decided to be a soccer player, and you hoofed the ball and hit the alumni hall scoreboard. I thought you were going to break it.
I think that was Leslie. That
probably was.
Leslie.
That would never be Leslie. Doesn't sound like a Leslie.
No,
I think that'd be you,
it
Karen.
would never have been Leslie, but it would have been Karen. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And I love coaching women's basketball. I had to continue for 29 years later.
Yeah. And you did a good job.
I just loved it. It was all because of your influence.
I just remember you, Bill, making us meditate. Or no, vision. What was it? We had to visualization.
That's
I was
right.
like, what the hell is this nonsense?
Yeah, I was trying to be ahead of the curve, Nate. I don't think it worked. They kept visualizing trying to steal ties off of guys in bars. I don't know. Oh, those were fun.
We can teach them, but we can't tell them what to use it on. So that's probably what helped getting the ties.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that, Dana, trying to teach you how to visualize. That's true. Yeah.
And for the current team, again, I think Ted's greatest asset to you is he can get you past the line at the seats. So he's really, really good at that. He's been doing it for 50 years. And somehow, if there's a massive line, he can absolutely get you.
Disappears.
Oh, look at it. Look what he has.
He's got his hat.
You have to put it on and step back, Dad, so we can see the size of it.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
That's classic.
Yeah, that gets you in front of lineups.
This is what you get when you win at the round table at the seams.
Ted, where are you living right now?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Where are you living?
We are in Kincardine.
Oh, okay. Nice spot.
It
Great.
is. It is. We're on the lake. Yeah.
Take it around there so they can see the sunset.
Oh, you.
No, you. We have a sunset on the lake.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, nice. A little lake. Yeah.
I've
Barb,
got a
are you-
little story to tell if I could, just a small one.
Please,
Nate?
please, believe it. It's this time. We'd love to hear it.
It's just a little one. I think it'll connect everybody here, being springtime. Leslie used to visualize butterflies chasing her cancer cells away when she was in the hospital. So every time I see a butterfly, not that beautiful butterfly, I think of Leslie.
Good story.
Great. Actually, I can compliment that, Marnie. I have a daughter who's 16, and I took her to Toronto to see Ryerson last August, and she fell in love with downtown Toronto. And she said, "Hey, Dad, let's go get daddy-daughter tattoos." And I said, "Well, hold on a second. I don't really want you to get a tattoo yet. You're only 16." She said, "Okay, I'll get extra studs in my ears, and you get a tattoo." And I said, "Okay, well, you draw a tattoo for me, and I'll get it." So she drew a tattoo in a heart with vines, and instead of tulips, it had little butterflies on it. She said, "This will remind you of Leslie for the rest of your life." So I now have that tattoo on my ass, compliments of my daughter.
Yeah, Leslie used to always, that was a good one from Ellie, actually. Great idea, Ellie. And nice hat, Jeff. When I bought this house, there were 3 little wooden butterflies at the front garden. And they were there, and I guess the previous owner just liked butterflies. And I came in and I looked through the house, and every wall had a picture of a butterfly. It was a weird thing. And I'm like, this is the house. So I still have those little butterflies. And I've heard Karen say it before. When you were hiking, you'd see a butterfly, say, "Hey, Leslie." And I know my mom's got a butterfly bush that represents Leslie. I think we all have something now. Everybody here knows what butterflies mean to Leslie. And when you see them this spring, think of Leslie, because I think that was one of the biggest symbols, I would say. Besides all the lovely things everybody has said about my sister, that's one of the things that really stands out for me. And I know for my family. So you beat me to it, Jeff. I wanted to get a butterfly tattoo.
I'll send you a photo. Well, you're welcome.
I hope my name's on there somewhere, little M or J or something.
Think about where it is, Marnie.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to get mine around my wrist or something, like a permanent.
Yeah.
Something permanent,
Well, for full disclosure, it's JW Mustang spinning a basketball on his finger tattooed on the other side of my ass. So that's it's perfect.
You can't show us that right now. I don't think so.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, this is great. It's nice to see everybody and everybody's stories about Leslie. And I have to say that I think all the girls that are playing basketball, you're all role models. And for those of you who know people who go through mental health, especially during COVID right now, it's so rampant for people, and girls and boys need role models, and they need to see how important exercise and sports is for a life and to feel happy. So keep up a good job with all your role modeling that you're doing.
Good point.
Well done, Marn. Well done.
Barb, you're awfully quiet.
Usually
Say
quiet.
something, Mom.
You're usually quiet.
I'd like just to thank everybody on Leslie's team, whatever position you were on that team. Thank you very much for sharing your stories, and thank you for supporting Leslie in all aspects of her life. It's been a great journey, and I know she cherished her friends. Thanks.
Well said, Barb.
Yeah, well done.
Most of you won't know who I am. I'm Leslie's aunt and one of her godmothers. My name's Maureen, and I live in New Zealand.
Maureen.
And yes, they are large down here, but we get by. Anyway, Leslie would have loved this. She's was a wonderful person, and I miss her every day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Maureen, how are you related to Leslie? You said you're her aunt?
I'm her aunt, Barbara's sister.
Okay.
And her godmother.
Right.
One of her godmothers. Leslie Davis is the other one.
Yeah.
And I think she was on here earlier. I'm not sure if she's still here.
I don't think she's here now. Yeah.
And we certainly enjoyed having Leslie and John visit us in New Zealand. Oh, actually, it was Australia. We were there at that point. We had some fun times. But she loved playing basketball with all of you, and it was lovely to see you all here today. And see my family. With COVID, I don't see anybody. Far away.
I had the nice opportunity to run into Leslie, I think it was in 1991 or 1992 at Whistler. She was skiing and I was skiing, and we just happened to come onto the same chairlift. And we skied the rest of the day together. And then afterwards, we went down to one of the stores and we bought matching sweatshirts. And then, you know, I was a high school teacher in Toronto at the time. And so every time I wore the sweatshirt, I thought of Leslie. And yeah, that was the last time I saw her, unfortunately, but it was a lovely day I had with her. What great memories to be out at Whistler with her. It was lovely. Yeah.
Who was that was just talking?
It was Maria, Jeff. Maria Fabro.
Oh, hi, Maria. I thought I recognized you.
Yeah, no worries. I saw it. Remember, Jeff, we've run into each other down on Kitts Beach and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was really nice. So nice to see everybody again.
It really is. It's great.
Yeah.
It's an awesome gathering, Nate. Very, very well done.
Thank you, Nate.
Yes, thank you very much, Nate.
No,
Nancy Lemon, you're quite quiet. That's not usual. What's happening?
I'm just getting a real kick out of seeing everybody and hearing all the stories. So it's really been fantastic. It's been, look at the time, it's over an hour, and it just seems like 5 minutes. So the stories are great. Karen, your memory is so good. Some of the stories I had completely forgotten about that you gave, but really, really fantastic. And I won't take any responsibility for those rookie parties. I had help. But I do believe we did start those rookie parties. I think it was something that our group started. I don't know if they're allowed to have them anymore, but oh gosh, we had fun.
No, I'd have to stop the recording. So no, we're not allowed to have a rookie party.
They were all in good fun. We didn't have too many outrageous things, but we really just loved each other as teammates, and we really embraced, Karen. I really appreciated you saying how we really embraced the experience. The basketball was fantastic, as competitors. We just, we loved it, but oh my gosh, we loved hanging out, and we just, every time we went away, even if it was down the highway to Kitchener, we just had a ball. And when we got on an airplane, it was even better, and all the fun things we did. And thank you, Mary, for letting us get away with so much.
Mary, do you remember the time the wheel? Mary, do you remember the time the wheel blew on the van?
Oh yeah, that was on the way to Windsor.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that was.
You handled that so well, Mary. Oh, I was impressed.
Oh my goodness, I know. I mean, in that second, I had a van load of I think there were 15 of us on that van, and that tire blew. Holy mackerel!
That was scary. That was scary.
Yeah.
It was
scary. It was scary. I wouldn't have wanted to be in the back seat of that. I mean, at least I was driving. I felt like I had some control there. But oh my goodness.
I think I was in the back seat.
Me too.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my. With cookies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen and Dana, I remember our flight out to Edmonton, and we were sitting in the plane and we're on the flight, and then I think it was Leslie and Dana and you came back with a bottle of champagne that the stewardesses had given you. Do you remember that? You guys just piled on the smiles, saying, "Oh, we're on this trip, and oh, why don't you celebrate with this bottle?" And it was awesome. That was a good week.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
Come on, Dana, fess up now.
Honestly, I don't remember the champagne. I remember the trip. I remember the really hideous bathing suits. I remember the three sisters. What was that stupid mountain range that we could never find? There's the three sisters.
That's a sisters. That was funny.
We weren't anywhere near there.
I remember the champagne because we talked to the flight attendant and we convinced her that she should give it to us. Yes. And she thought it was a good idea. So we were like, okay, perfect.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you guys were awesome. You could get anything out of it. I can't believe you guys didn't get the ties.
I know, that was a challenge. I just remember Pod Armstrong on the bus playing charades, and it was Shaka Khan was the song. And he had to throw an F-bomb in there until we could figure it out.
I think the women on this call need to have their own call. Just to relive the memories, like maybe weekly calls for you guys.
Yeah.
The memorial part is over. They're still gabbing. It's really good. There's about 44 people. One's from New Zealand.
Judy Kruger.
Yeah.
Oh. What happened?
Oh, I think he was just muted. So I think.
Nate, I got a question for you. How many current members of your team do you have on here right now?
I think I counted. I think there was 11 of the athletes that were currently on the call. I know a couple had sent regrets because they had to work or in different time zones. But I know they're very committed to these types of things. So it's part of the reason we recorded it, so the other ones are able to sort of take part. And all of our incoming recruits were on this as well.
The reason why I'm saying that is I want to reiterate a point that Jeff made and Nancy's made, and all these stories. It really is about enjoying the process of being together as a team and forming relationships, which I think sometimes is forgotten. If you recognize, there's not one story here about a specific game that any of them have played. It's not about, oh, do you remember that game where we were down 3 and in the last minute we ended up. I don't hear any of those stories. I hear everything is about relationships, forming bonds, forming memories. And I want to sometimes as coaches, we tend to get too serious about the competitive aspect of things that we forget the memorable moments until after the fact. And so I want to reiterate to the players that are currently online here that enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and form great relationships with your teammates, because those are the times you're going to remember 20 years down the road.
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah. Well said.
Well done, Bill.
And again, I'm more than willing to keep this going as long as you guys like. I know some of our players have started to trickle off a little bit, or some other people have had other commitments and have said, thanks and some goodbyes. So again, I'll just leave this up as long as you guys want to talk.
That's very kind of you, Nate. However, you might want to go on with your own personal things. Please.
You have a life?
Yeah.
We all get involved in basketball for the social connections. So this is the most people I've had a chance to talk to in quite a while. So I'm enjoying myself as well.
Well, you go out and have your 15K run and come back, and then we'll conclude. How's that?
It might take a long time for 15K.
Meanwhile, I was just thinking about having a bowl of ice cream with chocolate sauce.
Go for it.
In memory of Leslie and the team, I think I might go do a suicide, Karen.
I'll race you, Bill.
You're in too good shape. I can tell already.
Have your pail close by, Bill.
I noticed Darwin Samodiak was taking notes on some of those
stories.
Some of those stories are way back. I think he's going to go back and check those out.
Yeah.
Make sure there were no police involved, Darwin.
Well, we didn't talk about that. There may have been, but maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah. Selective memory.
I'd like to just say goodnight to everybody. It was so lovely seeing everybody. Nate, thank you. The Petter family, thank you. It's
Nice to
Nancy.
see you,
Andrew.
Nancy.
I'm gonna say goodnight.
Good
Yeah.
to see you too, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy.
Bye, Nancy. Nice to see you.
Nancy,
Nice to see you, Nancy.
Nancy, how can we keep in touch? How can we connect?
Can you put your email in the chat, Nancy?
Sure.
Unless you don't want to, unless you're in witness protection.
I can. I think I can.
That'd be great.
I'm not very adept at chatting here. Just click on chat. Oh, there
Or
you
you
go.
could just say it.
Bye, Elsie.
Here we go.
Yep, there it is.
All right, there we go.
Awesome.
That's Nancy's.
Great. You got that, Dane?
I got it.
Okay, good.
Where?
Right there. With the little
Oh,
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Hey,
And
Karen.
Nate, you had the idea of getting an email database going, and if there isn't one, there should be one that it started.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be great.
We've started doing
Because
that, but by all means, I think that's going to be something that we get into over the summer, especially since I'm going to be traveling. potentially. So it's a great opportunity for me to send emails and just keep in touch with everyone. And actually, Nancy, I coached her daughter, and that's the connection that I had to be able to get her involved in the call too. So I happen to have her email from when I coached Transway. So it was nice to see her reconnect too. So yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, and we're going to continue to do that.
Great. And Bill Pangus, it was good to see you.
Yeah, lovely.
Mary, it's awesome to see you again too.
Yeah.
Are you still in London?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a lifer down there.
Yeah. I haven't seen you in so long, but oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
can so see you still. Yeah. That laugh of yours. Yeah.
We had good time. My 2 years were outstanding at Western.
Yeah.
They're so memorable. So I really appreciate Nate inviting me on this. It was tremendous.
Yeah. And Bill, what's your son doing now?
He's currently playing in Russia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Russian philosophy of how to deal with COVID is a lot different in the Canadian philosophy. It's as if nothing's happened over there, more or less, right? But yeah, so he's in Russia this year, and I don't know what's going to happen next year. But thanks for asking. Yeah, he's had a tremendous year playing basketball overseas this year, and it's been great. And I have a granddaughter now, so it's awesome being a grandparent. And a lot of this technology that we have sure makes life a lot easier when you, as you all know, when you have family members around the globe. So we try to touch base with them every 2 days on FaceTime, and so we're establishing a connection with her. She's about 1.5 years now, so she does recognize us. So when she comes back to North America, at least she'll know who we are. So
great.
That's awesome. So thank God for Zoom and FaceTime and Instagram and whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody keep in touch? How's Peter Campbell? Does anybody know?
I haven't seen him in a couple of years since he's retired, but he owns a cabin, a cottage up in Georgian Bay, and I know he just loves going up to Georgian Bay. Right. I sometimes golf with him once a year because we have a mutual friends, and so we go golfing up in the Georgian Bay for a 2-day hiatus. So he joins us. But last year because of COVID, we missed it. So it's usually in June. So I haven't seen him in 2 years, but he's loving the retired life up in Georgian Bay, and still love to have his pint of beer, or 12 or 15 or whatever.
Hey, Nancy, how old are your kids now?
Me?
Yeah.
Carly's 33 and Tyler's 30. Damon's 27.
33.
Oh my Lord, I don't know. I can't believe that.
Yeah. Are you retired?
No, but really strongly thinking about it after this year, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Dana's an assistant superintendent. Like, she's a big deal.
No, we don't have assistants. I'm a superintendent, and
sorry.
No, I just can't tell you how much I'm disliking my job with COVID right now.
What board are you in now? York Region still?
No, I'm in Peel. We're like the hotspot world of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta be tough.
Yeah, can't say it's been a great experience. So.
Yeah, but you're a superintendent, like you're a big wheel, so you know.
She doesn't look too thrilled there, Karen.
No, she doesn't. Sorry, I was just trying to bring some lightness to it.
Yeah, no. All I do is listen to crazy anti-masker people and bitchy people, and yeah.
Retire.
I'm thinking about it very, very strongly.
Yeah.
I'm signing off. It was wonderful.
Okay.
Nice to see you, Barb.
Thank you so much.
Barb. Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, Mom. Gotta go too, guys. Good to see everybody.
Bye, Sandy.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
And as much as I've fallen in love with Zoom over the past 1.5 years or so, I'm going to sign off too. Thank you very much, Nate.
John,
John,
are you doing? How's it going? Are you doing okay?
Oh,
You're enjoying
I'm doing
your
great.
retirement?
Yeah, this is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Karen.
We're surviving here. We're waiting for Doug to open up the golf courses here.
Right. Yeah. Good.
We're all waiting for that, John. We're all waiting for that.
We saw a sign at the Listowel Golf Course the other day. It said, "Anytime, Doug."
Little pressure.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, John.
Bye,
Thank you.
John.
So much,
John
John.
and Kathy.
Nice to meet you, Kathy.
And there's Deb Kramer from Walkerton.
Wow. Hey, Deb Kramer.
Hey, how are you, Marnie?
Good.
Now we'll hear the
Good.
Okay, now we can get stories about you and Dee and I, but we're not going to go there right now.
I'll go get the seeps.
More seep stories. I haven't heard from Ildi.